Okay, welcome to a tour of FamilySearch. Today what we're going to do is we're going to tour FamilySearch, and I'm going to use my login so that it doesn't encroach on anybody's privacy.
Okay.
So here we are with FamilySearch. This is what the first page looks like when you log in. And on the right-hand side over here, which you'll see is my name. And if I click on my name, there's settings. If you click on settings, that's where you can go in and you can change things. So if you want to change your username, your contact name, your display name, your email, you can even, if you want to show temple information or not, sometimes people want to print things without temple information. You can click on that or unclick it. So this is where you can even change your password. You can have notifications where you can change things here. And so this is where you can just change things and you can see what's going on. Or like people can change their helper number, which I wish they wouldn't, because it makes it really hard for us when we're trying to be a helper. Mm-hmm. So that's where you can make all those changes. So also, go back to the main page again. Up here, you see these three little buttons here. This one little bell right here is notifications. So right now it's telling me that I have a new FamilySearch update it wants to tell me about. And then maybe there's my contributions, people who've contributed to different things. Here's different discoveries that they may want me to know, like my grandpa's headstone. They like to send you little notices every once in a while to get you interested. Or temple.
Are those like the emails that I get every Sunday from the church? Okay.
Yeah. And then this is one right here is for messages. It's like, for example, I found out that this dear friend who had hired me for several years had passed away a couple of years ago, and I had all all my research that I had done, and I wanted to share it because I found out there were people that had his pedigree, were adding to his pedigree. And so I was able to write to these people and ask them if they wanted the information. So this is where you can actually write messages to people. Like this one was to this guy right here. So it's kind of cool. And I'll show you where you can actually get their emails so that you can write to them. So here's my conversation back and forth. And then the question mark here, this is the help center, which is very helpful. Ha ha. It's the help center. So if you write something in here, you can go to the help center, which is wonderful. And then they have all these different subjects here. Like if you want to learn about memories, you want to do a search, you want to learn about indexing, you want to go to the learning center. If you wanted to go there, you can do that. And you can actually put something in here. If you want to search for something specific that you want to learn about, you can do that. Like you say, I want to learn about Portugal. You can type it in and see if it has anything interesting. Here, Portugal genealogy. So they have different.
So it's like Google, but for genealogy.
Yeah, yeah. And so they just have, and this is, I think, where they also may have some videos, to show you different cool things that they have. And then if you want to do their regular helper resources, then they have these different, if you're a helper person, recent articles, easy invitations, FamilySearch community, what's new at FamilySearch. So this help place is kind of a fun place to just go, just to browse and look around and see what's there. Okay, over here on the left side, of course, here's their little logo. And we're going to go backwards here. Here's temple. So that if you want to see what you have reserved, you can click on any of those buttons there. And this will actually show me things that I've already reserved.
Okay.
So if I want to click right here on filter, because it's my reservations, things I've shared with the temple, ordinances ready. These are where that pops up with names if you want any. So if you want a baptism confirmation, you can click on that and it'll pop up some names for you.
Uh-huh. Wow. You've shared 1,800? Holy cow.
It's okay. My goal is to do it a half an hour a day, which I don't always do, but I'm trying to.
Mhm.
And my parents are converts. So on this, if you click this, then it shows you printed and not printed. So these are the cards that I have printed and that still need to be done. And these are the cards that I...
Is it still like 1 year? I know it was 2 years, but didn't they change it?
It's 2 years, but they've kind of extended it because of COVID. So
Okay. Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit longer because see, this says expires 28th of May, 2023. You know, that's
yeah,
now pretty much. And so here's my not printed cards. These are the cards I haven't printed yet that I just did last week. And if I want to share them with the temple, all I have to do is I click the ones that I want to share. For example, I could do those two right there. I click share, and then I just share them with the temple. And then they go into my shared place. And then if I want to share them with a friend or a family member, I can click this and it takes you to a place where you can actually put in their email address and it will send them a notification.
Okay.
Okay, this is a fun place, all activities, where I'm trying to encourage people to use or that are trying to get into family search or family history. It just has a lot of games and different things that people can do. Here's about indexing. Here, this is a general area for memories. Every single person on FamilySearch has a place for memories. And we have a whole class on that, of course. This is where they're all kept. So they actually have an overview, which is helpful, which shows you what's new. And you can learn a little bit about how it works. And then they have the gallery, and that's where the gallery is of everything that you have ever put in here. And so you can actually put them in different albums over here as well. So if I wanted to take the time, I could go and I could click the ones that I wanted to and put them in a folder here.
And those are like your personal albums, not
and
public.
I believe they have now where you can actually create a video. So if I wanted to put them all in an album, I could create a video out of it, which is kind of cool.
Oh.
And then the search button here. You want to go? Yeah, I think we'll go to that now. The search right here. This has in the drop-down menu. It has the records. This is everything that the church has digitized and or indexed. These are images, which is sometimes they're newer than what's on the records. So let's go to each one. Let's start with the bottom because records is the big one. We'll start with the research wiki. The research wiki kind of reminds me of the help center. It's like a Wikipedia for genealogists. So if I want to type in, for example, name a place, any place.
Provo.
Provo. I can type in Provo and I could just see what.
Or wait, okay. Are we gonna find like births or deaths? Oh wait, okay, never mind.
It's going to tell you what's available for Provo. So this is going to, what we've done, or when I worked at the library, we spent a lot of our time inputting information in here so that people could just click and go. So if I wanted to know the cemeteries or the history of cemeteries, or I wanted to look at obituaries, these are places that I could go. And so it's just filled with links of how to find information. So let's say, now you had people from another country. What was it? Where some of your people are from?
I think England and
you had a European,
Eastern Europe.
Do you remember what
Eastern Europe.
Which country was it?
Well, I know Hungary is one of them.
Okay, let's type in Hungary.
I don't know the other ones though.
So here's Hungarian. So here's Hungarian online genealogy records. Here's an Ask the Community where you can ask questions. Here's how to do beginning Hungarian research, finding a town of origin, Germans to Russia, letter writing guide, a word list. And so they have all kinds of things. And then if you happen to know what area that they came from in Hungary, you can click on that and they can tell you about information for those specific areas.
Wow.
Links. So it kind of, you know, it gets you started anyways, because, you know, when you get into Eastern Europe, it's a little trickier, but at least it helps you to get familiar with that country and the records that are there. Okay, so books is right down here too on the drop down menu. And these are all the books that we partner with, or all the libraries that we partner with. And so if I want to type in, and this is, I thought was so fun because my maiden name is Steinbeagle, and I thought, oh, there's not going to be any Steinbeagles in here. But I did a search, general search, and it searches all these libraries that we partner with.
And where your name is, where the name Steinbeagle is in a book?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
So, oh, this is funny, El Matador. That's where I went to college in my first year of junior college. Probably me.
So is that probably you then?
Yes.
That's
wow. Here, the Ogden Standard, that's probably my brother because I live in Ogden. But then there's these other places, you know, that I've never heard of. It might be interesting since my name is so unusual, is just to go and check out and see what those what are in those. So it's kind of, especially if you have an unusual name, it's kind of a fun place to come and look. Okay, then they have the catalog. Let's wait on the catalog though. Let's go to genealogies. And these are just from, this is what they've taken them from. They've taken them from oral genealogies, from, it looks like mytrees.com. These are new things that I haven't known about. I knew about the pedigree resource file and the ancestral file. These are old programs that we used to do to put our pedigrees together. But look at all these other things that they've included in here now, where you can actually do a search for your family. And then, of course, Family Tree, which we'll get to in a minute. And then here's those images, which I mentioned. You could actually put in a place. I wish I could think of an exotic place like, well, let me just put in Orford. Maybe they'll do Orford. Oh, let's try to Orford, Tasmania, Australia, and see what they have.
Okay, never heard of it.
I don't either. I live in Orford in England, but I didn't know they had one in Australia. Okay. But it's showing you some of their newest images that they have there.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're going to go to records and the catalog because they're kind of linked together. Well, they are very much linked together. The catalog, of course, is everything that the church has microfilmed throughout the world, or the books that they have. So it includes everything that is in the Family History Library. So if I wanted to look for...
and that are those the stuff that are getting indexed?
They are, yes. And so let me type in a place here. I always do Kankakee because my ancestors come from there. This is Kankakee County. I just typed in Kankakee and you see it has a little drop down. I have to click on one of them. This is the town Kankakee. This is the county Kankakee. When I do a search, and it shows me all the records that they have in the library for these. So let's say that I wanted to look at a probate record. So I would click on this. I would click on the record that they have, and it tells me that, oh, they've been digitizing these records, because I could click here if I wanted to. Or I could go down here and I could say, okay, I want to look at the index. Well, look, the index, that little magnifying glass there tells me that it has been, the index has been indexed. So I could actually click on this and I could type in one of my ancestral names, like Kenrich, and just see if anything comes up. It doesn't, but we'll try Metcalf. Let's try that one. And nothing came with that either. That's just yeah. Oh, well, you know, I don't know.
Oh, wow. How about Jones?
Yeah, really. Okay, there we go.
Ah, Winifred.
I mean, that's just the index. But if I kind of knew, So if I knew exactly, let's say the index told me what volume to go to and what page number, I could just go here. And when it's a camera, that tells me that it's digitized, but it's not indexed. You have to have one of those.
Uh-huh. Oh.
And so I can go to this camera, and it's just like being on microfilm. If I know what page number, and some of these also have an index already at the beginning of each volume. So if I kind of knew what year to look at, I could kind of go to this index and I could look and see if there's any of my family names in here.
Uh-huh.
And just see, and then it would tell me what pages they're on to go to. And this little thing right here is kind of cool because it brings up the thumbnails. And then you can kind of scroll a lot faster to get through to where you want to go.
Mm-hmm. Wow. There's so many records.
I know. And that's just the probate. You know, there's land records, and then look at this. Sometimes they have the histories that are digitized. Like here they have a historical encyclopedia of the history of Kankakee County. I could go click on that. And it is digitized, but you see that little key over the top? That tells me I can only view it at a family history center. I don't have to be at the Salt Lake. I can be at any family history center, but I have to go to a family history center. I think it's something to do with their copyright or whatever the county or whoever was the owner of the materials. It's whatever they've spent. And so you can see it, but you have to go to the library. I mean, to the center.
Okay.
But that's why the centers are so valuable, is because there's a lot of records there that you can only see there. But it's great that you don't have to go downtown to go look at them. You can just go right down the street and see them. Okay, so anything that you've seen that's digitized is right here in records. And so this is another way. I like to go to the catalog a lot of times when I know a specific place and a specific record that I want to look for. I'll go to the catalog. Although I could do it here as well. I could look for browse all published collections. I could look and see what do they have. I could see, oh, here's on the left-hand side, it has all these different countries. If I wanted to click on the United States of America, then I could click down here on Illinois, and I could see, oh, look what they have for Illinois. It's here. So I could do it that way if I didn't want to go to the catalog. It's just sometimes it's faster and easier to go to the catalog to see it quickly. But then I may miss something like this, Illinois births and christenings. So it's kind of good to in general. But it's also fun just to type in their name. So if I wanted to type in, oh, I wonder why Kathleen came up there. That's weird, and I can't get it to. Try this again. No, because they do these drop down things, and I don't like them.
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't want
now
that.
we're looking for Patricia.
I guess whatever
Can you start typing in?
Oh, maybe I could.
Wow.
That's what I'll do. There you go. So I'm just going to type in my dad's name. And since the name is so unusual, I don't have to click match first names exactly. I mean, I could if I wanted to. I don't have to. And unusual, I don't really need to put in birthplace or birth year. And I like that they have a range. So if you're not exactly sure of the birth year, you can put it in.
Oh, yeah.
Actually do a marriage. You can do a death. You can even do a residence for a search for someone. But I'll just type in his name since it's unusual. And here it comes up with 29,000. But it wouldn't have to if I were to do
popular man.
All terms exactly. It wouldn't have come up with so many. So here he is on the 1940 census with his parents. Here he is, public records in Yuma. Most people have a public record, you know, in the town that they've lived. Find a grave where he was buried, the marriage to my mother. And so sometimes if you type in a name, you'll be surprised at what pops up. It's like, I didn't know this was here. What is this? In the Latter-day Saint Church census records, I had no idea this existed. And look, there's me, my name wrong. I've never seen that before.
Wow. So what year is that? 1914 to 1960. But what year was that record taken? Sometime in that year?
1955.
Oh, right. Oh, yes.
I would have been 2 years old. Oh, I'm giving my age.
Wow. Congratulations.
So it's a great place to go and search, just to do a general search. Okay, so now let's go to Family Tree. They actually have an overview now, which is kind of helpful. Well, I shouldn't say kind of, it is helpful. It says why use the FamilySearch Family Tree. It has little things about build your tree with ease, how to collaborate, how to connect with other family members. It has all these little tutorials in here, like how to fix an incorrect record. So this is helpful to go back to if you have a question about something. Of course, you can always go to the Help Center also. But here's where I go to see my tree. Now they have tree, person, find, following, my contributions. My contributions is just to tell you what you have contributed to the family tree. Following, I'll tell you what that means. It's just sometimes, well, a lot of times people are disturbed because their tree gets changed, especially when they've done a lot of research and there's questions about it and people keep trying to change it. And so what they can do is they can tag it so that they are notified if there's any changes made. And so it's like with Facebook, it will give you a list of everybody that you're following.
Okay.
And then find to see if you want to find a person. So we'll just go straight to the tree because those are also still there. So you see how tiny it is? I can just make it big. I don't know why, but it always comes up tiny every time I do it. And so you have these little plus and minus buttons here to make it bigger or smaller. So these icons on the top here, this little house is very useful because sometimes you're going to keep going back. It's like one of our kids in our ward, he was able to go back and figured out how he was related to Adam. I don't know how he did it, but he did. But you get lost as you keep going back. So if you want to come back to you, you just click your little house and it takes you back to you. This is the centering tool. This takes away all this or whatever. And then over here, this is to help others. So whenever I want to be a proxy for someone and go in as if I am them, I can click on this and I can put in their name, birth date, and the last 5 of their membership number or that helper number that I showed you back up here where they can change it if they want to. Or if they have a username and a helper number, I can use that. And that way I can go in as a helper. I can't see any of their settings. I'm not allowed to see any of that, which is good. But I'm able to function in here as if I'm them. So I can reserve names in their name. I can make changes in their name. I can add names in their name. So everything is done in their name.
Cool.
Okay. So on this page right here, so there's me, my parents. And now if I want to keep going farther, I just click this little arrow here. If I want to see their children at a glance, I can click that. And it gives you a little snippet of their information. I can even click on him once and I can see a little more detail. This tells me about the temple. If there's no temple, that means all the temple work is done for that family, parents and children. Here, it tells me that my Aunt Vivian is not done. And I need to get permission because she was born in 1914, which is within the last 110 years, which we have to have permission from their closest relative. So I have about 3 more years when I'll be able to submit her. These right here, this means that there's something missing, some information missing. So like with my uncle, there's something that's missing with either the place that he was born or...
He just died last year?
He did.
Wow, sorry.
He did. But no, it's kind of interesting that the day he died, the day that I learned that he died, I got very, very teary because my parents were converts. And my grandparents did join the church later in life. And my uncle's sons joined the church. And I just had this, in my mind, all of a sudden, I just had this little, not really a vision, but a mental image of the greeting. that he had with my dad and with his parents. And I just started crying. It was just like the tenderest thing for me to imagine him meeting, being greeted by his parents and my dad. It was just it was a really cool feeling. Okay, so I think that's basically this. So now the place you really want to go is that you want to go to their person page where all the details are. So I could either go here, but then it's going to just take me to my person page. So I could do that and just keep going backwards. But let's say I wanted to go to my grandpa's person page. So I can click on him once. And here's the little word person. So I click on that and it takes me to this detailed page right here. And so here's just a summary of his birth and death. Here's details. That's this page right here. So if you click on any of these other places, you'll need to click on details to get back to this page right here. They even have a little timeline that's kind of cool. And they intersperse it with actual historic events. Like here's the Chicago race riot of 1919. Because
wow.
Chicago at the time. And so it kind of helps you put things in perspective as to what was going on. And it adds a little bit of history to their life.
That's awesome.
With the Wall Street crash, and I know that he was unemployed during that time. There were hard times. Here's the sources that I've added to him, which I'll show you in a minute where you can do that. So if people have any questions, and I often, when I'm doing research for other people, I have a question as to where did they get that date? Do they have any other information? And so I'll come in here to see, is there a marriage record in here? Or is there a death record or something so that I can verify whatever it was that they were looking at. This collaborate right here is helpful whenever you're trying to start a discussion with someone. Let's say have a disagreement about something. You can actually have a little discussion in here if you wanted to. I like to sometimes add a note, especially when it's been a very complicated problem. And I want people to understand why I put this person with either the person they married or why I put them with the parents that they were. And so I'll put a title here and I'll put a big explanation about why I did what I did. So that basically so that people won't go and change it because they don't realize why I came up with those conclusions. This is memories. This is where you can put in all the pictures and documents and stories. And we have a presentation on that as well, but it's really simple. All you have to do is make sure your photos or your documents are on your computer, and then you just go to upload and you bring them in. And if you have a story, you just go here and you want to create a story, you just copy and paste it in. And you can even add a photo and a title, and it's just great to have that. And here's the ordinances. So here's the summary of when his temple work was done. You can see that he was baptized while he was living. And then so to my grandmother. And so everything was done when they were living in their elderly age. Over here on the right, you'll see it says view tree. Well, that will take me back to the tree again. So I can click on that. And actually, it brings me up with him in the home position with his children and his ancestors. And so if I click this, it's going to take me to his home, not to my home. Oh, no, it did take me to my home. So that's good. Sometimes it takes you to the person's home that you're at. Here's that follow button. If I was worried that people kept changing things and adding things that were not correct, I can click this and it will give me an email. Let me know, it'll notify me if anybody makes a change. I love this, view my relationship, because when you get kind of far back and you're working on other relatives, or you may get your ordinances ready and have a name, you want to know how you're related to that person, you can, once your login is you can go to that person, click view relationship, and you can see exactly how you're related to that person.
Cool. That is awesome.
And over here, they will show if there's a something to add. Let's go back for a minute, because I think, well, before we do that, let me go back. We'll do that in just a minute. I just wanted to see here why this was yellow. So if I click on this, it's saying the reason why his is yellow is because he's not been deceased for a year. Sometimes it'll be yellow like that and you can't submit them because they're famous, and they don't allow you to submit famous people unless you're directly related to that person. And for my aunt, hers is yellow because it's unavailable because her husband's still living. So she can't be sold to him.
Okay.
And sometimes it's merely because you haven't done a standardized place here. For example, let's go back to, I think, I'm going to go to my grandmother. Yes. I'm going to go to Elsie now. So I can show you this right here. If they have a record that all of a sudden they've digitized, and this happens all the time. I have already posted what I thought were all the records that they had, and now all of a sudden they have another one. And it's because that they have digitized and indexed now this 1930 census. And so I can click on this and see if that's really her. It's spelled differently than her married name, but I'm going to click on it. And I can say if it's not a match, and I can kind of look at immediately, and you can kind of tell if it is or not. And I can say, oh, there's her husband. There's my aunt and uncles. So I can click review and attach. This over here is the record. This over
so
here.
Did they just get her last name completely wrong then?
It was indexed incorrectly. You know, sometimes those census records are really difficult to discern, because of the handwriting that in them. We can even look at the here, and we can look and see why did they come up with that instead of Kenrich. And so you can actually click on the record right from there. And so when they were looking at it, they thought it looked like K-E-N-N-I-C-K. And it did. It looks like K-E-N-N-I-C-K. If they didn't know,
wow.
Right there.
I guess I'm just saying her name now doesn't even have that in it. Like it's her married name, her middle name.
But that's her married.
So her name doesn't even include the Kennick. Does that make sense? So go back to her person. So yeah, right here on the right side, it's
because this is her married name. She's on the census with her married name.
Yeah.
Not with her. Now, if she was on the census before they got married in 1915, on the 1910 census, she would appear hopefully as Elsie Johnson. But, you know, watch that one up too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to compare them, and I can leave these tagged if I want to, or take them out. You know, I'm not necessarily sure I need to have all these tagged, but you can leave them. And then I just click attach, and now it's going to attach that record to her and put it in that source place that I showed you. I'll show you again. The nice thing about censuses is that I can do all of them at once. So here's her husband. That. I'm going to attach my aunt. I'm going to attach my uncle. And I can attach my other uncle. My mother's not born yet. And then I can click on here to get back to her. And now that record is right there. And it's attached to every other person in the family too that we just did. So here's the other sources. We don't have her on an earlier census. I probably need to go look for her. But you can see how they've spelled her name. Johnson, Jansen, Jansen, Jansen. And the reason it's spelled J-A-N-S-O-N probably is because in Sweden, it was spelled J-O-N-S-O-N. And her father was Swedish. Okay, so that's what this research help here is. Now this is just shortcuts to get all these free sites that we have access to You have to sign up for them, but we have access to these sites. And the way that you sign up for them is just under help. Whoops, I help others. Wait. Help center, partners. And when you go to partners, it gives you right here partner access. And I know this is very, very quick, but that's where that's what these are. These are those sites that we partner with that you can go to quickly if you wanted to, just to see if they have anything on the person that you're looking at. This is helpful, latest changes, because if somebody does make a change that's completely wrong, you can go in here and you can see who did it. And you can send them a little email and say, is there a reason why you did that?
Uh-huh.
And then these are just different tools. Usually the delete person is unavailable, especially if their temple work's done. You can't delete them. If I added somebody and I realize, oh, that was a mistake, I can delete them because nothing's been done with it yet. Mm-hmm. Here's where you can report abuse. And that's if somebody is very stubborn and you've asked them not to change something and they keep doing it and repeatedly, or they're ugly, or they're mean or something. You can actually report them to FamilySearch. Well, these
has that ever happened to you?
Once. Had a little
Wait, oh, you said once?
Yeah, there was a lady that she was determined that the ancestors of this one person were this couple, and she can have that opinion if she wanted to. But I had done a lot of research and had a really good case for this other couple. And she didn't like that at all. And so she kept unattaching my person from those parents.
Oh.
I would ask her not to. It's like, you have your opinion, I have my opinion. We can leave them both there. And that way people can at least see that we have two different opinions. But no, she didn't. So we did report it, and she stopped. So, but we did everything we could. We'd asked her nicely. We did everything we could. And I wanted to have that couple there because I needed other people to see that that's a possibility, and maybe persist. But we needed to have other people because someone else could come up with more information, which would prove one of the other. So, okay, now this merge by ID. I'm sorry. What are you saying?
I just said interesting.
Yeah. Possible duplicate, merge by ID. These kind of go together. So let's say, and I'm going to just do this for an example really fast here. I'm just going to put her in here. I'm just going to add her. Okay, so let's say, and this happens a lot, you may see two people in the family who are duplicates. Or right here, they're going to say that you have some possible duplicates. It also comes up here. It'll have a big red mark and it'll say you have a possible duplicate. Well, because I didn't have very much information in here, it's not popping up as a possible duplicate. If I would have put her birth date in here and everything else, it would, and it would tell me it was a duplicate. But I want to show you this because if it doesn't pop up and you know that they're the same person in the same family, it's just that this person doesn't have enough information, you can actually manually merge them. And so if I want to do that, I can just click on her name once and see how it pops up copy ID. I just click on that. Mm-hmm. And I've just copied her ID. Now I go here, merge by ID. And I'm already on Elsie because that's who I want to merge into. So I click on merge by ID, and then I can just paste that number here and continue. Here's the new person. Here's my grandmother, and I want to merge them. So I can say, yes, continue. You kind of want to double check, when in any case, you want to go up and down and just make sure. And so I can continue. And here they even actually give you reasons that you can use. It's so nice. I can put here,
Oh.
this was an example. But I can click one of these, and it makes it easy so you don't have to come up with your own reason for a merge. It's so nice.
Right.
Then I just click finish merge, and now they're together. Now, if it pops up with a possible duplicate, you go through the same process, and it,
Mhm.
it would do it really fast. But they do have tutorials in here and on how to do it, or you can ask somebody and they can walk you through it. Then right here, this is just where you can print. This is a nice thing for printing a pedigree, family group, portrait pedigree, or something, whatever you want to print from here. Okay, so let's say I want to make some changes in here. Anything that has an edit, I can change. I can click in there and I can change the information and tell why I did it. Here, let's say I wanted to add the whole name of Illinois here. I could just click behind the L. If I do a little space, it pops up with the standardized response, and I can just click on it.
Mm.
But if something's incorrect, you can just go and you can change it. That's why people get upset and why they go. Because people are changing things.
Uh-huh.
This is a fun place because this is where if you wanted to add a different alternate name, you could do that. Let's say that their nickname is totally different from their first name. You could actually put that nickname down here because they do not like you to put something in. You know how you'll put, her name was, what is the nickname for somebody, and they'll put it in parentheses right here or something. They don't like that, or in quotes. FamilySearch.
Yeah.
So also here, it's fun because you can see if there's like a bar mitzvah or you want to put other information in here, you can. And so even a custom event you can add in here. And so it's kind of a fun place to add different information. And here, if you want to change the marriage, you can actually edit it here. So you click on that little box with a pencil in it, and you can edit the marriage. You can remove it. I do that a lot because when you find mistakes, I'm going to have to remove that person from them. Children, they also have a little box. If they're not in the right family, you can remove them. You can remove a parent. Now, here's a cool thing. Let's say that child is not biological. It's foster, a step, adopted, or guardian. You can. Okay, I think that is basically all the main things of FamilySearch. It's just getting familiar with it. You know, it's just going in and playing around and realizing that people sometimes are scared of it. They're scared that if they make a mistake, it's there forever. Well, it's not. It can be fixed. Everything in here can be fixed. I have undone the most complicated situations you can imagine. I mean, there's one time I think there were 3 families because the husband and wives had the same first names like William and Mary. They're all in the same county, and all these children were mixed up together in different. I had to separate all 3 families and then put the right children in the right places. And to me, it's kind of like a puzzle. And so whatever happens, it can be fixed. You know, don't ever be scared of it and breaking it because it can't break. And if you mess something up, I can fix it. So that's a tour of FamilySearch.